I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome to our ceremony this morning an ex-student who, just like you young ladies and gentlemen over on our left-hand side here this morning, was very successful in her schooling here at St Agnes. Nastasia Campanella attended St Agnes 10 years ago. We've asked her to come back into school today to share with you some of her successes that she's experienced along her journey since leaving Year 10 in 2004. Before I call Nastasia forward to address our assembly, I'd just like to play for you a short video clip that we've found. Hopefully we're not going to embarrass her too much, which gives you a bit of a background just to the amazing person that Nastasia is. So sit back and have a look at this.
More evidence given at an abuse inquiry. The voice is calm and confident. G'day, Naz Campanella with Triple J News. But what Triple J listeners across the country don't know is that this newsreader can't see one word of the script she's delivering. 24-year-old Naz Campanella is blind. The federal government's decision to scrap the promised increase. Not only that, she can't read Braille. So Naz Campanella presents 3-minute news bulletins on the hour by listening to an audio translation of copy through her headphones.
The senior New South Wales policeman who blew the whistle on,
and then repeating what she hears.
The senior New South Wales policeman who blew the whistle on allegations of a cover-up of child sexual abuse has admitted he lied to colleagues because he was suspicious of their motives.
I am reading about a second or two behind. It's hard because the speech program has an American accent and it's a sort of computerized voice, so there's that to contend with, and it pronounces things sort of incorrectly most of the time.
She doesn't just present the bulletins but produces them as well, operating the panel with the help of strategically placed Velcro dots while listening to 4 different streams of audio.
In the headphones I can hear myself.
The federal opposition leader says
I can hear the speech program telling me what to say.
The federal opposition leader says he expects.
I can hear the audio grabs that I have to play on air.
In the end, they will understand that we're a team.
And then on top of that, I can hear a clock telling me how much time I've got left to go.
10.
It's fine usually during the bulletin, but at the end of the day, after, sort of reading 5 or 6 bulletins in a row, my ears are a bit kind of sore and it's all a bit much. So,
what about your brain?
No, the brain learns to deal with it.
Well, I think it's quite remarkable.
Heather Forbes is responsible for hiring and training ABC cadet journalists.
Her brain can process that information in a nanosecond, and if a sighted person tries to do it, you just can't. I don't know how she does it because I've tried it myself and I just couldn't do it.
Naz Campanella lost her sight at 6 months of age when blood vessels burst at the back of her eyes, damaging the retinas. It was due to a genetic condition which also affected her younger brother Ben. But his sight was salvaged thanks to laser surgery, which wasn't available to Naz.
I think it's probably been a bit traumatic for Mum and Dad, especially early on, because I guess they'd never really met someone with a vision impairment, had no idea about what I'd be capable of doing or what services were out there in order to help me sort of get through life. But they've always been really supportive. They've never wrapped me up in cotton wool. I've always had to do everything like, my brother or my cousins.
Work experience at community radio sparked a passion for broadcasting, and Naz Campanella went on to graduate with a journalism degree from the University of Technology in Sydney.
It was difficult to find a job, any job at all, because I looked good on paper in terms of all the voluntary experience I had in the industry, and my resume looked great, the samples of work I had looked great, but it wasn't until I got to the interview stage where they found out I had a vision impairment, and it was like all of a sudden they just changed their attitude, and it was a big no, basically, and it was pretty heartbreaking.
In 2011, her luck changed and she beat a field of 700 applicants to win one of the 10 cadetships on offer at the ABC.
She had determination, and she doesn't take no for an answer, and she's got curiosity. She can write very well. She's got a beautiful voice, beautiful broadcast voice. And in the end, I said to myself, well, hell, if I was her, if I didn't have sight and I wanted to be a journalist, I'd want the cadetship. And so there was absolutely no reason to not give her a cadetship.
How did you feel when you got the phone call to tell you you'd been given a cadetship?
There were tears. Pretty happy. They were willing to take a chance, I guess, when no one else was. And they've done everything they possibly could to make it work. And I couldn't have asked for anything more.
All right, we're recording. So tell me, how long have you been working? During her cadetship, Naz Campanella reported in the field, became proficient at court reporting and spent a year, like all ABC cadets, working in a regional newsroom, Bega in New South Wales. Naz Campanella is the first ABC cadet journalist who is blind, and she's breaking new ground in the way she delivers the news.
I just think it's fantastic. And I think, you know, she's a great role model for anyone else out there who wants to be a journalist and, you know, hasn't got their sight.
But Naz Campanella isn't trying to be a role model, just the best journalist she can be.
I just like it. At the end of the day, I go home and I feel good about my job, and I look forward to it the next day.
You're listening to Triple J.
It's a dream come true, really.
Such an inspirational story. So we welcome you, Nastasia, this morning. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing this time with us. And I know that parents and the students are really looking forward to hearing your story shared a little bit more. So once again, welcome. Thank you.
I'd like to start off by thanking the teachers for inviting me to come back and speak to you today, and in particular to one of your student teachers, Mr. Petrocco, for suggesting it. A couple of weeks back, when they mentioned I had to come and talk about success, I wasn't really sure why. I'm not 45, I'm not a millionaire. That's what success is, right? And then I thought, well, I guess everyone defines success in a different way. As the video mentioned, I have been working at Triple J, and I read the news on any given week to 1.8 million people across the country. It's fun, it's fast-paced, it's exciting, but it hasn't been easy, and it took a really long time to get to this point. I was a student here, and I hate to think that it's now been 10 years. And I was a student here, and I wasn't exactly, in my earlier years, really caring too much about school. I wasn't what you'd call the most naturally gifted student. And then when I was in year 9, with support from teachers here, I started community radio, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the microphone and with radio, and that's when I knew I wanted to be a journalist and to do work as a presenter live to air in the future. I did some research and realised that the marks to get into courses to do those things were above 90. And traditionally, naturally gifted students don't get marks over 90. And so things shifted a little, and after graduating here in 2004, I went on to Loyola Senior High School, and I used the teachers there to learn how to study and learn how to write an essay. And it took a lot of hard work, and I remember in year 12 not going to any parties, and while I would not advocate giving up your social life to do well, it is worth working really hard, because at the end of year 12 I graduated at the top of my year at Loyola with a UAI score, which is now an ATAR, I believe. Our times have changed, with 95.75. And I did get into the journalism course at the University of Technology, Sydney. I spent 4.5 years studying at uni, and I was managing a whole bunch of new challenges. I didn't know anyone that was at that uni. I'd never caught the train into the city on my own, and the campus was huge. But I managed that, and I managed to get through the demands of studying a degree with working to get some pocket money, and also I spent the better part of 5 years doing unpaid internships with every radio station, newspaper and magazine that would have me, basically. And I graduated university with an average of a distinction, which is 80 to 100%. And then I started applying for jobs, and the job I really wanted was at the ABC, but so did another 700 people. And there were only 10 jobs on offer across the country. But I managed to be lucky enough to get one. And I spent a year working in Sydney with the ABC, learning how to be a journalist, basically. And I covered murder trials and drug ring busts and political press conferences and rallies, and met some amazing people along the way. And I then spent 12 months, as the video mentioned, in Bega, which is 6 hours south from Sydney. So again, another whole set of challenges. Left my family, my friends, didn't know anyone, didn't know where I was in the country for a girl who grew up in the city. It was pretty hard to learn how to deal with that. But it was amazing, and I spent 12 months learning about the fishery industry and dairy and forestry and timber, and learned how to milk cows and shear sheep, and learned how to go fishing. And I was meant to be there for 2 years, but the ABC offered me a job with Triple J after only a year of being down there. And I've been at Triple J ever since. And I still have moments where I'm reading news live to air and my heart is pounding. And I think, gosh, I'm sure people at home in their lounge rooms or their bedrooms can actually hear my heart pounding through the microphone as well. But with all those scary and stressful moments, really do come amazing moments where I get to sit at home and entertain and inform and educate 1.8 million people every single week. And it's something I take great pride in. It's something that I find it's an honour to teach you all about the world around you. And I'm immensely happy with the job I have. And for the most part, I'm doing pretty well. And I think, to me, that is what defines success.
Very much, Nastasia. Such an inspirational story. And we do take great pride here in St Agnes to think that we have played some part in that journey. Thank you again for coming in this morning. We do have a small token of appreciation for coming in, which we'll hand over. We hear you've got a sweet tooth, so you can enjoy that. And once again, just before we move on to stage 4, we put our hands together for Nastasia Campanella.